Okay, well, welcome everybody. This is Aaron Duquette, State Director for U.S. Term Limits. So once again, with our Meet the Pledge Signers series, today we have a very special pledge signer by the name of Randy Smith in West Virginia, who has been our lead sponsor. Not only a pledge signer, but he's been leading on this effort in West Virginia. And I just want to introduce everybody to him. Randy, you want to introduce yourself a little?
Well, like Aaron said, I'm Randy Smith, a senator for the 14th District in West Virginia. I represent 8 counties, and I'm proud to be the sponsor of the term limits. It's something I truly believe in, and look forward to trying to push it across the finish line this year.
Boy, we got real close, didn't we, Randy?
Yeah, real close.
Couple times, actually. Yeah, well, we're doubling down our efforts. We've been reaching out to all kinds of candidates. And, just for anyone that's watching and is unfamiliar with the process we're pursuing term limits on Congress. And the way we're doing that is not by simply asking Congress, pretty please. If you take a look at the news, take a pick of a news channel, it's not going to matter. You can take a look, and Congress is not going to act a term limit itself. They are drunk on their power, out of control, unruly, spending us into oblivion, and no sense of responsibility to people back home. And we need to term limit them. So our options are, we have to have a term limits amendment to the Constitution. That's the only way it can come. That's per the Supreme Court. So there's no ballot initiative that can do that, unfortunately. The state legislatures can't do that to their own delegations. It has to be a constitutional amendment. And so we're pursuing this other half of Article 5 in the Constitution, which allows that the states, when 34 states apply for a convention, we can convene the states in order to propose an amendment for term limits on Congress and get it done that way. So we don't need Congress's approval ultimately to get this done. And again, Randy has been the leader on that and signed our pledge, and we're working on getting a whole, dozens and dozens of other supporters, pledge signers behind them, so that we can get this done next session. So, Randy, can you share a little bit just about why you decided, obviously, to sign the pledge, but really embrace this issue, why it is that you support term limits on Congress and you're so passionate about it?
Well, like you just said, the main reason is all you have to do is look around you and see what's going on with our Congress. They're out of control. They're not going to police themselves. So this is a way for us to police them. Everybody says, not everybody. A lot of people say we don't need term limits. That's what's voting for. But as you well know, if you're one of the states that is getting all the port projects, and you're there needs to be a check in place to, Congress seen it, I forget what year it was, where they put term limits on presidents. And, we have term limits on president. We have them on sheriffs here in West Virginia, judges, we have, term limits. So this shouldn't be any different, I don't believe. And it's the only way we're going to clean this mess up. If they don't have any oversight, then they're just going to run wild.
Yeah, Randy, you make a lot of great points there. Actually, I didn't know that about sheriffs being term limited in West Virginia. That's interesting to me. What do you say? Sometimes you hear this objection, and you rarely hear it from just ordinary people and voters. They have an intuitive, common sense about it that the term limits make sense. Let's make sure that the structure built into government so that it prevents any one person from having too much power for too long. It's just a really kind of a commonsensical notion. And like you said, we have it on the presidency. What do you say to some folks, though, and they tend to be politicians or lobbyists that say this? They said, well, we already have term limits. They're called elections. What's your response to that?
Well, as you can see, it's not working out very well. Yes, we have elections, but I'm going to use Nancy Pelosi again because it seems to be the hot topic now. Her people don't want to get rid of her. I can see why, because she just pours the money into her district, and there's not a thing the rest of the country can do about it, because the people's going to keep on sending her back. And I'll be honest with you, I've been doing this for 8 years, and if you're doing your job as a representative, you're not going to be able to do it for 20 or 30 years because you should be burn out in 10 or 12 years if you're working at it like you should work at it.
Right.
And it's just our founding fathers didn't when they founded this country and created a constitution, the representatives weren't there for life. I mean, George Washington, he could have been king of the country, and he didn't want that because that's what we just left. And he only ran one term because he was beat down and he wanted to pass it on. And it used to be an honor, which I'm not saying it's not an honor now, but it used to be like a public service to be a representative. But now with look at their their benefit package. I mean, who wouldn't want, Social Security is good for everybody except Congress, they've just run wild, they don't represent the people anymore, I don't believe. If you're not a millionaire when you go in there, it seems like you are when you come out. Yeah. And it doesn't take a genius to figure out that the system's broke. And the only way I believe, to reel this in is we put term limits on there where you should serve as a community service and move on. Mm-hmm. It just seems like a common sense approach.
Yeah, no doubt. You touch on so many different reasons why we need this. We can tell you that, those watching, 82% of American voters, including actually in West Virginia, it's 83% of West Virginia voters are behind Randy here in this issue and all of our different pledge signers. And by the way, we have pledge signers on both sides of the aisle. This is a thoroughly bipartisan or nonpartisan issue, really, with bipartisan support. And how many issues do you see, that are of great consequence that there's a lot of bipartisan support on this? And that's just something I look at in our tumultuous times. This is something that can unite the people around something that's a good and helpful reform to push this thing forward. And we can start making some differences when we have a term limited Congress. We can get some fresh ideas in there and get some fresh perspective that hasn't been there for quite some time in many districts, for 30 plus years. So thank you so much, Randy. We can't do this without not only pledge signers like yourself, but impassioned sponsors like you. When we look for a lead sponsor candidate, Randy's kind of the paradigm, someone that's going to stand up and put his neck out for the issue and really stand up for it and push hard for this, because it needs some pushing. So we just want to thank you for that, for your steadfast support there, and look forward to going right back at it next year.
Thank you, Aaron. I look forward for another, me, I'm up for a good fight. So
oh yeah, me too.
I look forward to getting it across.
All right,
for the last 2 years, it's been quite a fight. So we got to get our leadership
That's right.
on board to push this across the finish line.
That's right.
I think they've been some politics played the last couple of years, and I hope we can get beyond that and do what's right.
All right. Amen to that. Well, Randy Smith, West Virginia Senator, thank you so much for taking time with us today, and we will see you soon, sir.
All right. Thank you. Have a great evening, Aaron.
Bye now.